Hi guys and welcome to Tobysblogs. Today this is my review of the whole series of K9. Okay, so the new series, the K9 series, a lot of people say it's really rubbish and it's really crap, and I've reviewed the first 2 episodes or so of this before, I think on the Hoovians channel, but I still reviewed them. And I've finished watching the whole series now. It took me a few months, because I watched them in drips and drabs, but still I thought it was a fantastic series. Now a lot of people hate it, a lot of the Hoovians hate it, and I'm sure a lot of you out there watching this video will hate it too. But I'm asking you this, have you watched it all the way through? Have you gone from episode 1 to episode 26? Have you? Because it is an awesome series and I loved it. Absolutely brilliant. Okay, we start off with K9 coming through the STM and with the Jixon, and he starts blasting all the Jixon, and then unfortunately he explodes himself, which then he uses his regen unit to regenerate himself with his living metal structure into a smaller K9 that flies. Okay, so one thing there that people might not like, K9's redesign. I say to you, watch the series, you get used to it. I was like, oh no to begin with, but then you get used to it. And he becomes K9, and it's brilliant. We have the characters Starkey and Darius and Professor Griffin and Geordie or the other girl. Anyway, we have those characters, and they help K9 out on different adventures and blah de blah de blah. We meet loads of different monsters like the Corvan, who are a huge, massive monster in the series, or the Jixon, another one that's quite important in the series. And so yeah, so it is a good series, and we go through all the episodes where there's some where the K9 and that fight these things, and we get a story. Even though we've got these different episodes, different stories, different things, we've got this whole plot line weaving through the series. And I want to say that Bob Baker can weave a plot line through a series way much better than Stephen Morfat. Stephen Morfat ain't got a clue how to do it, and he does it absolutely shit. Now Bob Baker, who is a classic series writer, knows exactly how to make a proper series, and he does it brilliantly. We start off with the episodes. We kind of get this story weave lining line. We get the Corvan episode, and I'm like, yeah, the Corvan looks a bit shit, don't really like it. It was a good episode, but you think, nah, they're not going to return. You don't really think that they're anything important because you think it's just a normal episode. And then we kind of get these other people from the department, you know, like we have that evil guy at the beginning, and then he gets replaced by a complete psychopath who betrays the human race. Spoilers, by the way, if you're watching this. And then we kind of get, you know, it weaves the plot line through, and the Corvan become more important, and the STM becomes more important, and the Jixon. But in the second episode, bit of a shocker, but you know, yeah, that they kind of develop too, and you know, it is a good series. The characters and the plot line weaving through, all leading to the end. K9 losing his regen unit to the department, blah de blah de blah, all this stuff. Corvan invasion at the end. K9 defenseless, huge big monster. What's going to happen? K9 nearly dies, and it's so sad. It is. I actually cried because it was so sad. They're all saying goodbye to K9, say, oh, you're my best friend, and I love you, and you die. And it's like, oh. But yeah, it was a brilliant series, and you know, all the plot lines start coming together, start making sense, and you're thinking, who's the guy who's in charge of the department? By episode 3, episode 2, you guessed who it was anyway. So, that wasn't handled very well, but oh well. Even though, like, the monsters are the thing that let it down, I think. The thing that lets the series down is the monsters. They look absolute shit. have to be honest, they look absolutely shit. For the second half of the series, yes, it does kind of pick up, but still, I'm thinking children's program, cheap budget, hardly any CGI effects. Only CGI effects like the STM and the K9 stun gun and maybe a few others. But you know, they spend that and they don't spend it on the monsters. The monsters look cheap, look 1960s cheap, you know, where they just look like a costume. Jixon look especially look like a costume. The Corvin look exactly like a costume. There's no flesh on it. No, like you get, you know, in the CGI, you get the flesh tones, and it looks watery, and you know, it looks real to an extent. And this one just looks like costume. And there was in the second episode, there was this woman in like a, she was made of blue cloth. It was like, you're not making any effort at all on this, are you? But you know, yeah, the monsters they didn't put much effort into. Where the whole series revolved around monsters, I would say that it'd be more important to spend your money on the monsters rather than on anything else. But yeah, it was a fantastic series. I don't care what anyone says. I loved the K9 series, and I would definitely watch it again. That ending episode was just utterly awesome. But yeah, if you can get over the K9's new outward appearance and get over the shitty monsters, you can watch the series, enjoy it, fall in love with the characters if you must, and you know, really feel something for K9 when he nearly dies at the end, and you know, I loved it. And I say to you guys, do not criticise this series unless you've watched it all the way through. There's this brilliant guy or girl on YouTube called Muji something, and on there you can watch every single K9 episode ever, along with winging it episodes, which I love also. But still, you can go and watch it all on there. Link it down below, and I say watch every single episode, and then say to me you don't like it, because I loved it, and it was brilliant. And I will see you guys some other time. Go and watch the K9 series. Utterly awesome. Goodbye.